In this clip, we're going to learn how we can adjust our tangent handles to alter the spacing for an animation. All right, so we have a brand new scene open up here, and you can find this scene within your project files. So what we have here is a basic bouncing ball. So we're going to be doing something just a little bit more fun in these next couple of clips. So let's go ahead and just play this animation. Go ahead and hit the play button, and you can see the animation that we currently have. So you can see it's a bouncing ball, but it doesn't really look like the way a ball would really bounce in the real world. We have this ball sort of just looking like it's just moving up and down and up and down, but it doesn't feel like it has the weight or the gravity that we would have in the real world. So it doesn't look like a ball bouncing in the real world. So we need to fix this. And this is really where the graph editor comes in extremely vital for really completely altering the look of an animation and making it feel more grounded and believable. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we can really adjust this animation to make it look great. So let's go ahead and pause this, and we'll select the control curve right here. All right, and this is just the main control. And if you open up the scene file, you should already be in the ShotCam view. If not, go ahead and go to Panels, Orthographic, and choose the Shot Camera, which is basically just a side view camera here. All right, let's make sure we have that control curve selected. We'll go to frame 1, we'll go to Windows, Animation Editor, and we'll choose the Graph Editor. And you can see that we only have one channel keyframed, so we're only going to see that channel in the Graph Editor outliner here. So let's go ahead and select the Translate Y, press F to make sure we're framed in on that curve. And if we hold Alt and Shift, just like we learned, and use the right mouse button, we can sort of just zoom in on this curve. So you can see the tangent handles, or the tangent types that we have here. We're using an auto tangent type, and you can see the basic curve that we're getting. So when you're looking at your graph editor like this, once you get really comfortable with your graph editor, you'll get familiar with these curves and exactly the effect that it's going to have on your animation. So if we go ahead and move the graph editor to the right a little bit and take a look at our ball here, if we just scrub through this by just clicking on the timeline and dragging forward, take a look at what happens to our ball. As the ball falls to the ground and gets closer to the ground, the spacing on the ball is actually getting closer together. You can see from frame 9 to 10, the ball travels a very small amount. And that's because the shape of our curve and our tangent handle. This is what is altering the actual spacing that we have between frame 1 and frame 10 of the Translate Y channel. So this curve is having a direct effect on how our ball is actually moving in 3D space. So when we look at a bouncing ball in the real world, we know that as a ball falls and gravity takes over, that ball is going to slowly fall faster and faster until it finally hits the ground. We kind of have the exact opposite in our animation, simply going off the auto tangent handle type and exactly what it gives us inside of Maya. Our ball is falling and slowing down as it begins to fall, and slows down right up until the point until it actually touches the ground, which is exactly the thing we want to avoid. We want to create an animation that looks more believable. So to do that, we need to adjust our tangent handle. So we can do that very, very easily. So let's go ahead, and what we're going to do is select this first keyframe. And the way you know that your spacing is going to be closer together is when you have a wider curve like this, a more rounded curve. When a curve is straightened out like we see in the middle of these two keyframes, it means the spacing is going to be further apart. So if we take a look sort of in the middle of frame 1 and frame 10, kind of around frame 5, you can see that the ball is actually traveling a farther distance in 3D space. If we look at the frame between 5 and 6, you can see it's actually traveling a pretty far amount because that curve is straight. And then as that curve widens down here to the bottom of the keyframe, we get this sort of bowl look to our curve. It means since it's a wider curve, the spacing in our animation is going to become closer together. So it's very simple just to think of it this way. When a curve is wide, means the spacing is closer together. When a curve is more straight like this, it means the spacing is further apart or more linear. So that's something really important to keep in mind when you begin to adjust your animations in the graph editor. So let's go ahead and we're going to select this tangent handle here on the right, and we're going to hold shift down and drag this out quite a bit. And the reason we want to do this is because we want this ball to slowly fall to the ground. We don't want it to just quickly zoom to the ground. We want it to slowly fall, and then as it falls, it's slowly going to go faster and faster and faster until it actually hits the ground. So we have a wider curve at the top to create that effect. Down here at the bottom, we need to straighten out this curve and get rid of this really wide sort of a valley that we have down here. So let's go ahead and take this curve, hold shift and just drag it inward using the middle mouse button to create a really nice sharp curve down there. And you'll notice that we can't really bring it in any further than this. So what we need to do is actually break this tangent handle. And what this does is it allows us to adjust a tangent handle independently of each other. So let's go ahead and break this. And now you can see the tangent handle on the left, we now can change the shape of that or the rotation of that handle independently of the other. So now we can just drag this one in just to make sure we get as sharp a curve as possible. So now if we take a look at our animation from frame 1, you can see the ball is slowly dropping, and then it travels faster and faster until it finally hits the ground. And you can see the spacing from frame 9 to 10 now is much further apart. And if we just play this one drop, you can see just how much better that looks between the rest of the animation. So let's go ahead and now adjust the rest. So we're going to just do the same thing. We're going to grab these tangent handles here and bring them out. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that in Maya 2017, it's going to automatically free the tangent handle weight. And what that means is you can see we can stretch these handles out, creating a wider curve. And if it's not a free tangent handle, we can't do this. We can only rotate it. We can't stretch the handles in or out. We're only allowed to rotate it. So if we go ahead and look up here, you can see this free tangent weight is highlighted, which means it's giving us the ability to stretch this handle out, which by default in Maya 2017 is going to be set on your tangent handles at all times. Now if we have this right here, which is the lock tangent weight, we no longer can stretch these handles out. We can only rotate them. So that's important to keep in mind. We want to make sure that we have the free tangent weight turned on so that we're able to stretch these handles out. So we'll go down here, we'll bring these in, we'll break the tangent weight to make sure that we get them close as possible. Do the same up here, stretch it out, bring these in, and then break that tangent handle weight right up here at the top. And you'll see the effect that this is going to have on our animation. So we'll bring these tangent handles in. Again, just bringing them out, creating a wider arc at the top. As the ball slows down, it slowly drops and then it speeds up. So we want to create that effect. Break that tangent handle, bring it in, and we're almost done here. We just have a couple more bounces to go. So again, all we're doing is just where we want the spacing to be closer together, we're creating a wider curve. Where we want the spacing to be further apart, we want the ball to feel like it's dropping faster, we bring these tangent handles closer together, creating a sharper curve. And we'll just do it for the last couple of bounces here, and then we'll be done. Bring these in, break that tangent handle weight there, or excuse me, just break that tangent handle so we can manipulate each one independently of the other. And then stretch this out, and we should be done here. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this animation. So you can see in our viewport, the effect that has changed, simply adjusting the shape of those curves is going to completely alter the look of your animation. Now it actually appears as if our ball is bouncing like it would in the real world. It's dropping at a faster speed. It's slowly falling and then picks up speed. And if you want to, we can even stretch these handles out more to create a faster fall if we want to. So you can really have fun kind of just tweaking these tangent handles as needed to get the look that you want for your animation. And that's looking really nice. All right, so now that we've learned how we can really adjust our tangent handles in a little bit more of an advanced way to really completely change the look and feel of an animation to create something more believable, in the next clip, we're going to learn how to create an infinite cycle.